Hello, beloved, innocent, perfect child of God. Welcome to another day here in the dream. So, what are we going to do with our day? It's an interesting question to wake up and, so much of our lives can just be run on habit. And we just wake up and do what we did yesterday. And if that's working for you, great. And if it's not, it's time to install some new software. So here's the thing. The ego, this thing we call ego, it thinks it's us. And then the mind, so it's like the ego has the thought, I am you. And then the mind, which isn't us, but is, and when I say mind, I mean the quality of mind, capital M, mind. And then, which is a part of our soul and is connected to us, then has a choice. It can align itself with that thought that's saying, I am you, and all the other things like, I am weak, I am good, I am pretty, I am old, and I am a body. And so the mind can then align itself with that or with the truth. And most people align themselves with that voice, with the ego. And then we start to believe the ego, and we believe that we are the ego. So herein lies one of the interesting paradoxes of the spiritual path, is that we're trying to end that which we think we are, but which we actually aren't. It would be like, if I took on the thought, I'm a cat. I'm looking over at my cat. She looks mad at me. She doesn't like that example. Okay, I'll take on I'm a dog. Is that bad? Oh my God, she just did the cat eyes. She's like, she gave me cat love. She prefers that one. Okay, so let's say I believe I'm a dog. And then, I read these spiritual books and it's like, you are not a dog. And I'm like, no, I am a dog. And then I fight it because, I heard that voice that said, you're a dog. And then I believed it. And so then I take it on as true. And then, I read a spiritual book or I hang out with a spiritual teacher and it's like, actually, you're not a dog. You're an eternal child of God. And I'm like, no, I'm a dog. All because I just listened to this voice. And as soon as I listened to it and believed it, then I take on that sense of identity. And then any true spiritual teaching will threaten my identity. Not my actual identity, but my believed identity. And people fight their whole lives against spiritual teaching. God, I was a hardcore spiritual seeker, and I fought against the teaching that I'm not a body, that I'm a soul, that I'm consciousness. I fought for it and argued and debated, and oh my God. And all that was being challenged was a belief, an untrue belief. And here's a little something from the Course in Miracles. My kitty's looking at me. She's very happy that I didn't use the cat metaphor. So here's a quote from the Course. You forget the love that animals have for their own offspring, and the need they feel to protect them. This is because they regard them as part of themselves. No one can disown something he regards as a very real part of himself. So any true spiritual teaching is going to feel like an attack, unless it's done very skillfully and gently. And even then, it's probably going to feel like a bit of an attack. Now, the paradox is it's an attack on what isn't true, but what we're defending is true. But these false things, when we identify as them, we think they're us. And it'd be like, no, I am a dog, and fight to the death to protect an untrue belief. That's basically what the ego is and does. Man reacts to his own ego much as God does to his souls, with love, protection, and great charity. The reaction of man to the self he made is not at all surprising. In fact, it duplicates in many ways how he will one day react to his real creations, which are as limitless as his. So according to the Course, all the ego is it's a false creation. That God created us, and we, being like God, have actually created. And that we have true, eternal, real creations just like that which made us. And we're not aware of any of them because we also have a false creation, which kind of obscures all of that. Being the ego. What is the ego? A set of false beliefs which creates a false experience. Just look around you and you can see the power of the ego. So here's another little quote from the Course. Okay. Undermining the ego's thought system must be perceived as painful, even though this is anything but true. Babies scream in rage if you take away a knife or scissors from them. I added the from them, it's not there. If you take away a knife or scissors, even though they harm themselves, even though they may well harm themselves if you do not. So a good spiritual teaching is trying to just take away that which is harmful. And we rage and scream. So, and sadly, this situation has been a little complicated. There's many spiritual teachers out there who are just straight up not ethical, who want money, power, fame, or sex. So any spiritual teacher or teaching that seems after those things, that seems after the glorification of themselves, that's after money, that's after control of your life, or is after sex, then it's a good idea to resist that part of their teaching. Probably that teacher, period. But a true teaching can often feel like a threat. And it's not after your money or your body or your worship. A true teaching is just trying to take away from you what's harming you. It's just trying to take away the source of all of our suffering. It's a bit of a paradox. It can be a bit confusing. But all we have to do is recognize, just have one moment of recognition that the majority of our thoughts are not true, and or that the majority of our thoughts harm us, and or that our thoughts disconnect us from God, and or take us out of the present moment. With that simple recognition, it's like the doorway can open. And before that recognition, we think we are our thoughts. We think this voice we hear inside our head, we think it's us. Actually, it's just a voice inside our head. From non-strict, an Advaita Vedanta perspective, we're that which is aware of the voice. And we are, in truth, we're unaffected by the voice. On a relative level, the choice drags us through hell over and over and over and over. So, welcome to the wacky, wild, paradoxical, yet also pretty simple world of non-duality, that we're not our thoughts. We're something so much greater than them. Have a blessed day.